Well, the amusement park industry really dates back to the beginning of recorded history. And in the United States, amusement parks began as basically picnic areas, and they became full-fledged amusement areas really with the advent of mass transportation. That was the turning point. Coney Island in New York is probably the best example. And around the turn of the century, early promoters were fiercely competitive, and soon the area gained worldwide fame. Hundreds of unique rides were introduced to the public. Coney Island was the proving ground for the entire industry. Today, the amusement park industry really has broken all bounds. There's virtually an amusement area within a 250-mile radius of every major city in the United States. Six Flags Over Georgia was opened in 1967 after approximately 2 years of construction. We played to 1.1 million people that first year, and we consider that a very, very successful opening. With our successful opening and the successful openings of other parks in the United States, competition wasn't far behind. The amusement park industry has mushroomed into a gigantic billion-dollar industry. To keep ahead in such a fast-growing competitive market requires constant upgrading. At Six Flags, we strive to be first with the most creative attractions to be found anywhere. Six Flags Over Georgia is a leader in the industry, and we plan to continue to grow. The best way to get an overall look at Six Flags is to take a ride on one of the 2 real steam engines that make endless journeys around the 276-acre park. Six Flags was originally designed with growth in mind. We knew that when more people came to the park, we would have to increase the capacity. The log flume is a good example. It proved so successful the first year that we went ahead with plans for a second in 1968. It's really a classic ride. New sections are opened with new attractions. The Cotton State section was opened in 1973 to handle the overflow from the Scream Machine. Each of the 7 sections at Six Flags have a different theme and create a different mood. This allows the guest to set his own pace. The Lick Skillet section was part of our first major expansion that took place in the second year. With the second log flume, we designed another sky bucket, added landscaping, and a variety of smaller attractions that kept crowds coming. 1968 was a record year, with attendance reaching 1.6 million people. Growth over the next 4 years was tremendous. In 1970, the attendance peaked at 2 million. Variety is essential at a family-oriented park, and at Six Flags Over Georgia, we go all out to appeal to as many tastes as possible.
The Indians call that the first toast toasty. Oh, but it looks like the original French fry to me.
All the rides, shows, and attractions are molded in and around the natural beauty of the park. The river ride is a good example. It's one of our original attractions and has remained popular because the people become part of the ride. Guest participation is key at Six Flags.
Get down, everybody. Watch out, the water is wet, folks. Every man, woman, and child for himself.
Bring it up, let's boogie it. I never know what's gonna happen. They do something different every single time. Sometimes I get real excited when they are really together, you know, like I really get into it.
To deliver more value in a visit to Six Flags, we decided to put the dolphin pool to double use.
Georgia proudly presents the Great American High Diving Team.
In between dolphin shows, the All-American High Diving Team was introduced. The team is made up of champion divers from all over the country who put on quite a show. To do 6 shows a day, 7 days a week, takes a real professional.
The thing I like about it, I think, most is the everyday challenge of it. Even though the tricks might remain the same, it's the attitude which you do them with that can vary a lot. Basically a mental sport that you execute physical skills that you've acquired, but the challenge is to be up mentally, to be able to do things well.
Nice warm welcome for a high diver, Peter McCollum. And now seriously, we ask you silence, please.
In addition to our regular attractions, Six Flags promotes a variety of special attractions. Our promotions department, headed by Tony Hobson, was primarily responsible for Atlanta's first international balloon race. Have you ever considered the number of man-hours required to pull a thing like that together?
Well, it took a lot of man-hours because, first of all, the World Professional Balloon Association organized all the pilots, and these are the top pilots in the country. These guys are guys that actually make their living flying balloons, and they do it competitively, and they do it for sponsors and that type of thing. The races that they have here, and really about the only type of racing that they can do here, is what they call a hound and a hare event. Then what they do is they release the hare balloon, which is the lead balloon, and that takes off, I guess, about 10 minutes prior to the other balloons. And then they, in 30-second intervals, release the other balloons. Wherever the hare balloon decides to go down, okay, they'll land in a pasture, or in one of the races we had, they landed in a guy's backyard, about a $100,000 house over in Sandy Springs, and then it becomes the target, and the hound balloons are judged and are awarded their prizes as how close they can get to the target balloon. So we had some pretty hairy experiences over there.
Thrill rides have always been the backbone of the amusement park industry, and at Six Flags it's no different. Most thrill rides do the same tricks, but it's the way that they're done that makes the difference. The log flume goes through banks, turns, drops, tunnels, just like a roller coaster, but the water adds the new dimension and changes the whole personality of the ride. Probably the most spectacular ride to be installed at Six Flags is the Great Gasp. It was our main addition in 1976 and helped boost our attendance to 2.3 million.
It's gotta be dropped out of an airplane.
I like it. It's fun. You feel like you're in a space capsule and you're going, yeah, it's neat. It feels like your whole body's glued to you. You can't move.
We have a variety of rides at Six Flags, but without a doubt, the Great American Scream Machine is the all-time favorite. Back in 1971, when the Scream Machine was in the planning stages, we decided that our next main attraction would be a genuine turn-of-the-century wooden coaster. To assure that it would be authentic in every way, we contracted the Philadelphia Toboggan Company to supervise the construction. The Philadelphia Toboggan Company is one of the oldest ride manufacturers in the country. In fact, they built one of the most prized possessions here at Six Flags back in 1908. The Six Flags Carousel is one of 3 existing fiberglass carousels in the world. It was originally built for the grand opening of the famous Riverview Park in Chicago and was very popular until the park closed in 1967. Millions have ridden it. President Harding, William Randolph Hearst, even Al Capone rode it. We found the carousel stored in a warehouse in Galena, Illinois. After 26,000 man-hours of painstaking work, we restored the 70 hand-carved wooden horses to the beautiful work of art you see today. We are proud to display such a fine example of carnival art. The Six Flags Carousel is in a class all its own. We like to think of it as our fine china. At Six Flags, there are hundreds of jobs that often go unnoticed. We now engage a concessionaire with a staff of 17 to handle just balloon sales alone. We sell millions of novelties and hats of all descriptions. In fact, we have a 40,000 square foot warehouse and a staff of 30 that work year-round to keep up with the demand and to upgrade the quality of our merchandise. Marketing novelty items at Six Flags is done in the traditional manner. People like to compete and people like to win. We have a variety of games at the park, and they are all challenging, but not impossible. At Six Flags, we deal in volume and happy people. Our food and beverage department consists of 800 people that work all year to assure the highest quality foods. Last year, we sold 975,000 hot dogs, 604,000 hamburgers, and 3.5 million Cokes, just to name a few. An important part of a visit to Six Flags can be enjoying the people around you. As more and more people visit the park, crowd control has become necessary. Our security department has 200 highly trained professionals who handle the job well. Our security department really does a terrific job. We have had as many as 45,000 people visit the park in a single day. Now, I'll admit that's a bunch of people, but with proper crowd control, a good time can be had by all. It takes a staff of 17 to take care of just the animals at Six Flags. In addition to the lion and tiger shows, we have farm animals, dogs, cats, and a variety of exotic animals and birds. We have a staff of 1,500 highly trained personnel in our operations department. Not only are they responsible for the safety and operation of the existing rides, but that department is also active in the design and construction of some very exciting future projects. The public see thrill rides as fun, but Ray Williams, our director of operations, sees thrill rides in an entirely different light.
Well, I see thrill rides as one of the main reasons we're here. If it wasn't for thrill rides, I doubt that any of the large theme parks would be as much of a success as they have been in the past. All the way back, that's where it all got started, is the large thrill rides, and make them bigger and better every year from Coney Island all the way up to the present. So I just think they're just the center focal point of our whole business, really. When you're on a thrill ride, even though you know nothing's going to happen, that excitement and that thrill and that being on the edge, quote unquote, gives people a break or a lift, gives them a way to escape. A word, I hate to use that word, but that in essence is what it is.
My legs feel like yo-yos.
It's great, it's great.
Thrill rides are an important part of a visit to Six Flags, but Frank Blackburn and Wayne Mings make sure that everyone can also enjoy the quiet beauty of the park.
I nearly live over here, and my wife says to me, "Why don't you take your bed over there?" That will tell you.
I probably spend more time, like Frank, I spend more time than I should on my job. It's more than a job to me. We work together. I guess you know it's not a one-man operation. It's an operation of 23 people. I'm in charge of the pruning, the layout of the flower beds, the waterfalls, watering, the mowing.
There's a lot of tremendous amount of thought gas to go into this job to make a good job of it.
We've got 6 sections of the park, which we try to maintain as separate individual parks. If we can do that, we maintain something that people are looking for, because if they came through the park and everything we had was the same, they'd be disappointed.
We're always after something different, and that's a great challenge. We get, 20, 30 garden clubs every year come round here to see the plants they say that they've never seen.
But the landscape tends to break up the harshness of it. It seems to give everybody an idea that they're here to enjoy themselves, and it's calm and it's quiet, and people love it. They go, they sit on the sidewalks, they sit on the benches, and they feel like they belong.
Definitely, I quite agree with everything Wayne has said in this. You come here, look at our flowers, and go back and talk about it. And it brings a lot of people to our park, the people which I personally like to see here. Flower lovers, plant lovers. I love it. It's a challenge all the time. Do something better again next year. This job, this work, it's my life.
To add a lot of value to a visit to Six Flags, we have a variety of mini productions that fill the gaps between the main attractions.
What? Sit on it. I must sit on you. The little muppet.
Our own grounds entertainment has proven to be very popular at Six Flags, and a staff of 17 in the live show department work hard to provide a wide selection. We have 4.5 hours of just shows alone at Six Flags, and we use young, inexperienced talent in most of our productions.
We do what we think are professional-looking amateur shows. We're not professional, we're amateur, that's what we are. But we like to make people look professional within an amateur context.
David Blackburn is Vice President of Show Productions in all of the Six Flags parks. He and his staff are dedicated professionals and do a tremendous job. Each year they hold auditions across the country to seek out undeveloped talent.
Some of these people have other jobs. Some of them are obviously in school, and this helps them with their schooling, gives them a little extra money. And if you're interested in the theater, it gives you an opportunity to sing, dance, learn how to relate to an audience.
It teaches you so much about everything in the line of show business, from production to orchestration, and I can learn a lot about all aspects of it from here. When you look out and see somebody that you know that appreciates what you're doing, instead of just doing a regular old job, you're being appreciated, and that's a pretty good thrill. I have to admit that making people smile is all right.
When I watch the shows at the park, I watch the audience. It's not hard to tell if a show is working or not.
All right, big country and western howdy to all of y'all. Hey, Mel. Yeah. Did you see that girl smile at me? Yeah, but the first time I saw you, I had to smile too.
I'm doing what I really enjoy doing. I love working with young people. I find that young people, when properly trained and properly motivated, can do just about anything that you ask them to do, and to take an idea of a show and what you want, and to give it to young people and see them totally develop it and make it come off is just the most exciting thing in the world to me.
Practically every show is different because you're appealing to different people in the audience. You could just go out down the passerella and just see their faces, and if you know that they're very tired, you have to work harder to pep them up. They want to see a good show and be entertained.
I would say that enthusiasm and spirit are as much a part of what we do as talent.
There's a feeling that you get when you're out there that you can't ever express.
and I've never found it anywhere else.
We approach things in a professional atmosphere and give them a professional atmosphere, but we deal strictly in an amateur-type production. It's an interesting kind of experience, whether you want it for a career or just preparing yourself for a future life.
I don't know what I would do without it.
How does it make me feel? I'm the happiest guy in the world.
In 10 years, we have entertained 19 million guests that came from virtually every state in the Union. Six Flags is active in community affairs, has invested over $18 million in improvements, and has been instrumental in the design and construction of some of the most thrilling attractions ever to be introduced to the public. Whatever we are, we owe to the efforts of the 3,500 dedicated personnel that all work for one common goal: to make a visit to Six Flags an experience that will be remembered.
It's very much a team effort, and you'll hear a lot of companies talk about the team effort, but at Six Flags it's a reality.
Six Flags Over Georgia is people, dedicated people that like what they're doing. With their help, in 10 years, we have grown to become a leader in the industry.
It's really a hard thing to explain. A lot of long hours, a lot of hard work. But when you get out here and you see people laughing and you see people having fun, you know that people are enjoying it. That makes it all worthwhile.
To see people smile, to hear people laughing, to hear people screaming on the rides as they're having a good time, that's the bottom line to me.